Hello everybody, welcome to the Brainscapers. I'm Brooks.
I'm Beth, also known as Roots.
Oh, that was great. And we're going to talk about this whole project here. It's one of my favorites. This is like what I would say a resort at home. We have everything for the homeowners, their kids, and their grandkids to enjoy. And I'll tell you how it got started. I was recommended by a friend. His name was Dave. He was a carpenter working here, and I have dealt with him many years before, and he recommended me to Jan, who lives here. And so I came out and I looked at the project, and this was nothing but a hillside. There was big trees here, a couple big trees over there, nothing but grass here. And so we talked about the project, and I took and made a pencil drawing. The reason I do pencil drawings real quick is because I hate to sit down and draw out anything for somebody. So I did the pencil drawing for her, and she took a look at it, and she didn't like it at all, of course. So she started talking a little bit about it, and I said, well, hold on a minute. Let me make a phone call. So I made a phone call, and I called Roots, and she come out, and that's where this project started.
So when I came out, they had already gotten started on the hardscape, carving the hillside out for the water feature. We kind of took a look at, they're pulling up the old pavers. They had selected, Jan had selected the new ones that she liked. They were on site. So we just kind of started brainstorming on how to tie it all together and then also soften it. Some of the things that I thought needed to happen is just multiple levels, because we already have natural multiple levels. So we lowered the fire pit just a step, just added a little bit more dimension to everything. We have the deck that already has two levels. And the size of the patio is fabulous. It's great for a huge family, which they have. It's great for entertaining. Very, very usable, very accessible. Luckily, this falls kind of on the shady side of the house for the afternoon. So there's multiple areas that are sun and shade. Great spot for the hammock. The water feature is great. Stone steps. It's just tied together really nicely. So then what I did is I designed, as a landscape designer, the softscape around it. We added different flowering trees, different evergreens to have winter interest. Also shrubs that bloom a variety of times. On the hillside, there are a lot of perennials, which you're not really seeing now because they're just coming up. We did take just a couple of big trees out that weren't doing well on that hillside. So that's changing it up a little bit. And then in the fall, a couple of years into it, we came back and added lots of spring flowering bulbs. So you get that early layer of color before all of the perennials come up. So right now it's kind of in that beginning succession of, it just was all of the fall cleanup was done, spring cleanup, however you say that. Everything is freshly edged, mulched, and ready for the new season of plants to go.
Well, Beth, you just came out, or your crew just came out recently to do cleanup and everything. Can you explain a little bit about what all that you did do? I see a lot of things coming up and a few things starting to bloom. And I know you had to remulch and everything. You want to talk a little bit about that, and we can walk around and look at some of this.
Yeah, so what we did was we always kind of do an assessment every spring of what needs done. And that is an early spring of figuring out if anything didn't survive the winter, of what's thriving, if something needs divided, and because it did really well last year. So basically we come in and we start by cutting all of the dead plant material to the ground, anything that is kind of wintered over and looks unsightly. Cut the hydrangea flowers off, shape all of the shrubs that need shape, get those kind of back into just a nice form so that as the new growth comes on, they'll be able to take on a new shape for the summer. So once we have all of that, all the cutting, pruning, and that cleanup done, then we go through and use a sharp spade, flat shovel or flat-ended spade, and we edge all of the beds so it makes a really nice clean mowing edge. And then our necessary, that's always a big word, necessary fertilizers are put down, and then also a pre-emergent cream or the generic corn truck land. And that the importance of that pre-emergent is you want to put that under your mulch and then cover the mulch. It'll keep any weed seed from germinating. So the earlier you can get that down, the better off you are for long-term weed control through the summer. And then we apply a nice layer of brown mulch. It goes great with the pavers, the brick, all of the rest of the colors of the house. And so that'll hold the moisture in and then also suppress the weeds. So that's kind of where it's at now. It's just now waiting for all the bulbs to bloom and be done, and then there'll be the next phase of coming in after the bulbs have died back, cut them back, and by then the perennials will be up and running.
Well, I came a few days ago, and I had to drain the pond. Of course, we didn't have a real bad winter, so it wasn't too bad, but there was a lot of, because of the temperature change that we had this year. We had 60 degrees in February, and we turn around in March, we get down below freezing. It created a lot of moss on top of this pond. So I pumped all the pond out and cleaned it up, power washed it. I did a video on it, which I will make a link below for you to click on to take a look at it. But we redid everything, now we've got it going, and this place is ready for the family to enjoy for this spring, this summer, for cookouts. And I talked to Jan yesterday, and she was just so happy with everything. And she talked about how that, you know, the grown-ups are up on the deck a lot, you know, grilling out, so forth, and they can watch the kids down here below. That's what's so great about this place. It's like a resort. I mean, they've got everything here. They've got the hammock, they've got a big fireplace, which we'll go take a look at here in a minute. And they got a huge patio for great entertainment for their families to come, because they have several kids and a lot of grandkids. So it just worked out perfect. And the water feature, I mean, my gosh, who wouldn't want to sit out here in the evening with a glass of wine and watch this? It is beautiful. I love it. This is my favorite project of all the projects I've done over the years. And I've been doing this 36 years. So Beth, you want to walk around and maybe take a look at some things? And,
sure.
And we'll just talk about it.
Okay. So Brooks, how did you pick the pavers and the stone and the travertine cap?
Well, what I did was I got a whole bunch of samples from different companies, brought them out, and we tried to find something color coordinated that would match like the deck and go with everything else. And the stone actually is an Indiana stone, and she wanted some color with it. So that's how we picked out the stone. Basically, the homeowner picked that out. And the travertine is something I really love using. It's a very hard material. It's very classy. It's really pretty. And there's various different colors that you can use for it. So what we did, as you see here, we kind of made it a little S turn here. And just built it up high enough where it could be a sitting bench. As you can see, it's very comfortable to sit on. And that way, if you come in to look for water, the kids sit here, they throw rocks in the water. And this is not a fish pond, so there's no fish in it. It's just more or less for the pleasure of the sound and to watch the flow of the waterfall. And then we come around here and we did steps. We had to get herself from here up to the top. And she really loved the big stones, so we picked out the big stones for that. Put them up. And then we got the little sitting bench up there. And of course you see the other frog up there. And that's not my thing, but she did that, and I love it. It's beautiful, because I hated the frog that's over here in the water, because this thing has got a lot of frogs in it during the summertime, and they hop around on the patio. The kids catch them and everything. Then over here, when we started on this part, this was not here. The lower wall was not here. The upper wall was already here. It was not real stable, so we cleaned it up. And we tried to make it look a little bit better, and which it does. And so we built this to help support the rest of this wall so it's not coming down. And this is all mortar. We got a footer poured down below this, and we tried to get this to match this. So as you come in, your exit of the patio and going upstairs, it all flows really good. And of course, roots put in the landscaping, the boulders, and so forth to help accent it. And my favorite part is we'll walk over here and look at the sunken fire pit. This was Ruth's idea, to do the fire pit sunken down. And when she first suggested me doing that, I wasn't really happy about it because I just wanted the big flat area. But once it's been done, I love it. It gives it like a separate room for the whole patio area that you step down and use it. And it's got the same type of stone, travertine around it. We got fire brick inside of it and a big gas ring. Now this gas ring runs, the gas line runs underneath the patio all the way around up to the other side of the house. It was quite a chore on that part to get that to run, but it works beautiful. They love it. They sit out here all the time. And then on the outside, we did these benches of natural stone. It's more or less for parents and people to sit on when there's a big gathering. And that was Beth Ruth's idea. So we did that. The homeowners love it. So what do you think? You like it?
I love it. I think it's beautiful. And it's very usable and it fits a lot of people.
Oh yeah. And they talk about how much they've already used it this year. This is the last week of March, and they've already used the fire pit this year. They've used the hammock already this year, which I think is awesome. That's Beth's idea right there.
Yeah, I like with the hammock. I wanted to do something a little different underneath it, which is why we did the creek rock or river boulders kind of combination with the stepping stones, just so it didn't get muddy and you also weren't tracking mulch onto the patio or out in the yard. And of course the kids love it. This is a really neat thing that the grandkids all have done. Again, it just kind of shows you some of the fun that they have here. It's all of their artwork on the rocks.
I really like that.
Very
That
cute.
is really neat that they do that. So you want to talk about some of your plants?
Sure. So some of the things that we did plant-wise, one of my favorite things here is this thunderhead pine. They always kind of take on a mind of their own with their shape, and this one, it's just a beautiful, kind of asymmetrical, soft-looking evergreen. So it's here all winter, which is great. The way we control the growth with this, if we want to keep it managed, is as these new candles come on, and you can do it now or wait a little bit, is you literally pinch half off or 3/4 off, and then it forces it to rebranch and sprout, so you get these little dense clusters. You don't have to do that, but it's just a neat way to control it without ever just pruning.
That's really interesting, Beth, because I didn't know that. And I've been around plants and trees forever, and I didn't know how you did that. That is really cool.
So we do that on any of the pines. Here we just have a few maples to give us some shade. They have a great backyard with these rolling hills. Also gives you good fall color. And then most everything else in here is their perennials. They're things that are just going to bloom and give a lot of color for the summertime. Got a lot of daffodils in here. Allium giganticum bulbs. They'll have the giant purple bulb, fake flower in the summertime. And some hydrangeas in the back. Those will have large white flowers for most of the summer. And then some Japanese plum yews. They look a little rough from the winter, but they'll pull out of it and green up here before long. And then,
Well, it's still early.
early.
It's only last week of March.
Yeah, and there are plenty of open spaces this year where we'll fill in with some perennials once the season gets going a little bit more.
I like the design of the boulders going around here also.
You know, for there we just needed something to help slow the water down as the mulch was washing. And so adding some granite boulders to mix in with the other colors of limestone and the other details, the creek cobbles, just kind of adds just another element to it.
I've got to get a close-up of this frog. That's peace.
So the other thing I really like about the paver design that they put together is I like the large pattern with it, and it's textured so it's not slippery. And then that cobble detail just adds another layer of interest to it. It makes it look, you know, like a finished carpet. And then also I can tell it looks like you've got a sealer on this.
Yes, this project is approximately 8 years old, and we have come 2 times to power wash, clean it up, resand it, and seal it, and it almost looks like the day that we did it. I'm really happy about the fact that there's nothing moved yet. And there's so many projects I go to, which really keeps me in business, is repairing people's projects. And the stones all stayed in place pretty much. I haven't seen anything move, crack.
So does that have to do with the base that the pavers?
Yes, in my opinion, it does have to do with the base of the pavers. We try to do at least 6 inch of crushed limestone, 411s compacted underneath. Sometimes it might be a little bit more. We try not to go any less than that, and we compact it really tight and hard. Now, I do a lot of things different than other contractors. I put 1 inch of concrete sand on top of the crushed limestone. And the reason that I do that, a lot of people use sandy nines, which don't give. Well, the sand gives. So whenever I put the sand down 1 inch, you know, that's quite a bit. And you take and lay the pavers on top of that, and when you get done, you compact the pavers. And I allow a 1/4 inch around all of my areas where it's higher than, like, say, the concrete or the other part of the patio that we're coming up against, for it to settle. Because when you packed it and you've got concrete sand 1 inch of it, those pavers will sink a 1/4 inch, which pushes sand up between the bottom of it, and which makes it lock in really better.
Right.
And then we also use a poly sand on top that gets really firm.
Okay, and then another question. So your seat wall, that's approximately 18 to 20 inches, which is just chair height?
Yes, we try to make it as close as possible to chair height as we can. Of course, when you're dealing with natural stone, the problem that you have is the stones are not all the same size. So, you know, we tell the homeowners when we do it, you know, we're shooting between 16 and 18 inches, and sometimes it might be more, but very rare is it less than 16 inches.
Okay. So on the back side of the patio, let's go just take a look at that real quick.
Okay, I didn't install that. That was here before,
Oh, okay.
just so you know. But we have repaired it.
Well, I think it's interesting. I just like the detail of how all of this goes with curves, and whereas this is more linear, but it works really well with the linear, with the lines of the concrete.
Yeah, before we started this part of the project over here, that was kind of a secluded area where they had their hot tub and stuff, and
Okay.
you know, where they can kind of get away from everybody else and enjoy that. And over the period of time, they did get rid of that. But we have pulled a lot of these pavers up over here and reset them and try to keep them looking good also. And those pavers are been here longer than what we have done. I don't know what time they were put in, probably when the house was built.
Okay. So it just makes sense that you can use existing material, just like you have the existing walls. Take that all apart, you're able to just fix that and work with another existing area, but tie all of this together so it looks like one unit.
Yeah, I think it worked out really good.
Yep. Me too.
And I tell you what we need to do before we close this thing out. Do you want to talk about any more of the other plants or not? Are we good for now? What kind of
Yeah.
what kind of plants you got coming up?
So the plants that are the other perennials that are in here, basically right now you're seeing a lot of foliage of daffodils, bulbs. They'll die back. Then we have some reblooming daylilies. These are happy returns, so it's a yellow. Those will come up and bloom and then be cut back to the ground. They'll come up and bloom again. Usually you can get 2 to 3 blooms in the season. And then all in here, what you're not seeing, a lot of different varieties of coneflower, which is a daisy-shaped flower. It's also called echinacea. The one we have mostly in here is called Cheyenne Spirit. And when we come back later in the summer, you'll see that it's shades of purples, pinks, yellows, occasionally a white. And so this just becomes all color for the summer back here.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
So it's great for butterflies, hummingbirds, everything. All the pollinators come in for it.
Yeah, I was working here last year, and I was taking a video of the waterfall, and there was a hummingbird right next to me, and I got some video of that, so hopefully we can tie that in with this.
Yep.
But it was really cool.
Right, absolutely.
The hummingbirds.
Well, and they do a good job of keeping their feeders full, and then just having a lot of plant varieties that draw them in also helps.
Okay, you want to walk up? Let's walk up the deck and try to shoot this whole thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna start over here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to keep. I kept moving, so it's trying to keep the shadows out.
Yeah, right now we don't have any. When we was doing that, we had a lot of shadows. But we're gonna just shoot all the way across this so you can see this whole thing. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's huge. I can't even remember how many square feet it is.
It looks big, but really by the time you have people, you know, a party going on, other tables set up, chairs, it really just becomes usable space.
Oh yeah. And Jan was telling me yesterday how that the birds will get in the waterfall area where it's coming down, and they'll take a shower, not a bath. She says they'll take a shower. So it's pretty cool. Then you got the steps here, which go all the way up.
I do like, I especially love the one step that is longer, wider than the others. It just adds a really neat detail. I remember when you were putting that in, I thought that was a really neat feature instead of just everything being consistent.
Well, I'm a little bit different, so I'll have to disagree with you, because I remember when I put it in, I wanted to cut it off and you didn't. So I left it.
Well, but I like it. I mean, it really adds to it.
Yeah. It's a great place to set a nice little flower pot or something of that nature.
Okay, go ahead. We will be back several times this year, so you can see the different changes in the perennials and the plants, see the color as the season progresses, and as we can give tips on pruning, cutting plants back, things that need to be done as far as summer maintenance.
Okay, well, hope you like this video. Please subscribe. If you've got any comments at all, please make the comments, because every comment that you make will help us better serve you so that we know what you like and don't like. And give us a thumbs up.
Or two. Share it with your friends.
Please do.
Thank you.
God bless.